Welcome back to Let Us In Podcast. Today, Crystal and I are going to be covering our top 13 favorite series. Let me tell you, this was really
Yeah.
hard. It was really
It's so
hard.
tricky. I realized how much I really do not like ranking things. I like watching
Yeah.
ranking lists, I do, but personally ranking them is stressful for me. But
I
I did it.
love ranking. It's figuring out
You
what
do,
my top 13 are that gets really hard. And then I'll think of
yeah,
other shows and I'm like, do they deserve this list?
right? Yeah,
Maybe, but more than this one? No. Like,
I know,
it gets tough.
I know.
So we're
It
going to start
does.
with 13 and we're going to go down to 1. So if you care what our top number 1 show is, if you've watched us for even a little while, you probably know. But maybe
Maybe.
not. Stick around to the end and
Yeah,
find out how well do you know us.
yeah, that's
All
the
right.
that's the question.
That's the ultimate question. How well do you know it? Also, I think
Exactly.
it's hard to find good shows. So I'm hoping this will
Mhm.
help people, especially horror shows or shows that
Yeah,
are spooky or have spooky material in it,
yeah.
spooky adjacent.
True.
Lucifer was on my list and then I took it off because I was like, "Ah, it's just because he's Lucifer. There's nothing actually scary or anything horror related. It's like
Exactly, yeah.
a crime drama, right? Like Bones or
Yeah.
something, which I also love. Anywho,
My number 13 spot is actually Harper's Island. And this show is just a fun watch. It's like your typical who done it. There's some
mm,
murders happening, there's some really good kills, and who the heck did it? So you spend the whole
mm-hmm.
season trying to figure out this mystery. And it's just kind of fun. It was a 2009, I think, show,
I can't
but
believe I
it
haven't
feels
seen
very
this.
nice. I think you would love it because it has like a
I'm
late
gonna check it
90s,
out.
early 2000s like horror
Oh,
movie
that's right
kind
up
of
my
feel.
vibe. Yeah,
Exactly. And
it's
I
my
think
vibe.
you'd have a really good time with it. It is pretty enjoyable. Unfortunately, it was only one season. So I almost didn't put it on this list, but I think it's good enough to make
I
my top
did
13.
not put any single season ones on my list that got canceled because
That's
I,
fair.
unlike Crystal, didn't want to torture anybody. I'm
I
sorry.
know. I'm so bad for that. I really am. But I think it's a good enough show that you should watch it if you haven't seen it. So,
I'll check it out. I'll check it out. I'll be heartbroken that there isn't more at the end, just right along
yeah,
with you, I'm sure. There's a lot of shows like that. Archive 81 just came out and it
that's
was
another one.
so good and
Yeah.
immediately canceled. I'm so
Yeah.
disappointed. So I
I
didn't
know.
include that either because I don't want anybody else to be upset. I think when I
That's fair.
reviewed that show, actually, I said it's really good, but it's already canceled. So maybe not watch it. Yeah. So my 13th pick is actually American Horror Story. And I have to be honest, I haven't actually watched all of the newest seasons. I
Me
watched
either.
the first half of the last season. I watched so I didn't finish watching it because a lot of there was a lot of focus around a kid and I had a feeling
Ah,
that this kid might get eaten. And I was like,
fair.
I don't know if I can put myself through it. So I didn't watch it. I don't know if that's what happened. I still don't know. I haven't looked into it. I haven't worked up
Yeah.
the courage, but I just stopped watching it. I think it still
Fair.
had some amazing seasons and
Hmm.
it's done a lot for horror on television, I think. Like really
Absolutely.
mainstreaming it and showing how popular it can be and
Hmm.
how amazing the acting can be. I mean, that show's gotten nods. It's got
Oh, yeah.
amazing performances. I
Hmm.
I'm impressed by that show quite a lot with like its creativity and storytelling. So it
Yeah.
deserves to be on this list just for that alone. What was
Absolutely.
your favorite season? Do you have one?
I haven't watched enough to really have a favorite season yet. I'm the same as you. I've never finished it. I've actually only seen up until season 4. So I've missed a
Oh,
lot of the new ones. Yeah.
yeah.
Um,
Me too, though.
but
My favorite season was Coven so far, though. Really liked Coven.
yeah, Coven was really good. I do really like that
Yeah.
one. This is another one that has gotten canceled. We get more than one season with this one though. We get 2.
That's good. That's good.
So my number 12 spot is The Exorcist. This show was good. This show was really good. It was genuinely spooky in spots, and I'm still
Hmm.
so upset that they canceled this. I don't know why. A lot of people really liked it.
I haven't
It
watched this
dove
one yet
in.
either.
I do. If you like The Exorcist, I think you'd appreciate this because it ties in with the main story.
I feel like I
And
blaspheme against The Exorcist quite a lot, but I don't hate it.
I
I do like
was
The
gonna say you actually
Exorcist.
do.
I do. I like The Exorcist, but for some reason, anytime it comes up in my videos, it's usually for me to bash it. Like,
It's true. But
I don't
knowing
mean
you
to.
like the story, this
Yeah.
like ties in with the main story.
I hear
Yeah, it
it's
dives
great.
deep in the horror. It is. It's got some like really intense moments that works really well for a horror show. Definitely recommend it.
I'll have to check it out too. My next one is Chucky, which is only got one season, but it hasn't been canceled. It's been renewed. So we're
It's
gonna get
coming.
more. But this
Yeah.
this show impressed me so much. I had
Mhm.
such low, I'm not kidding, low expectations for this show.
Me too.
I had high hopes and low expectations, and
Yep.
it blew me away. It
Yep.
did such a good job with capturing some of the original horror elements, the
Yep.
scary stuff that the very first Child's Play film had, but then at the same time still had all of the charisma of the later, more fun and silly movies of the
Yeah.
franchise. And having Tiffany, I there was just a lot of smart decisions. Oh, and Devin Sawa,
Mhm.
I mean, stop. And the fact that he's
Yeah.
coming back, even though he's a different person, like he's playing a whole different, like, oh, I hope they bring him back every season and kill him off every season because that would be really funny if they just keep bringing him back as different characters.
I'd be okay with
Um,
it.
hold on a second. I gotta look up who said that because it was brilliant. And I was like, oh my god, absolutely. It was
Okay, we'll have to
Andrew
go check
Horror
it out.
31. He was talking
Yeah.
about the series and how Devin Sawa was coming back. And yes, I would love that. That'd be so cool. Okay.
Yeah. I agree.
And
I agree. That's
Chucky.
yes.
Chucky.
I agree. Good
That's
show.
my 12th.
My number 11 is Yellowjackets. And before anybody comes for me, I know that this is more of a psychological drama, but there are some legit horror elements to this show and I think it's adjacent to the genre. It counts.
Hmm.
I love this show. We are getting season 2. This show was fantastic. The casting was perfection. The acting was so good by everybody. I
Yeah,
don't think they could have casted a more perfect cast because the adult characters matched up so well with the younger characters.
I
Oh
agree.
my god. And it's kept me on edge every single episode. This is another one of those keeps you guessing, keeps you wondering. And they left us
I
on a
haven't finished
cliffhanger.
it yet. So
Well, I
I
won't give
have
any
not.
spoilers, but
Maybe I should wait for the next season before I finish it. I'm kind of sad. I'm not like
I don't
feeling like
know.
an itch to go watch it. So if I wait until the second season comes, I won't be on a cliffhanger.
That's fair. It's true because we were left on a cliffhanger and now I spent like a month theorizing what season 2 could be about and how it's going to like start
That would
wrapping
torture
some
me.
stories up. Oh, it's I highly recommend it. I think maybe you should watch it so then you can just be waiting with me.
And theorize with it. We could theorize together and suffer
We
waiting.
could. We could make a video
Misery
on
together.
Yellow Jacket theories.
Totally. That would be fun. That would
It
be
would be
fun.
fun. Yep.
My next one is Bates Motel. Did you ever get a chance to watch that show?
I did watch the first season and I never ever went back to it, but I did enjoy it.
It
I
gets
did enjoy
so
it.
much better after the first season. This
Of
is one
course.
of those
Of course.
shows that is so solid and ended
Mm.
so
Oh,
perfectly. I
I
it
gotta do it.
I loved it. I loved every minute of it. I mean, you
Mm.
know the story, right? You know the story already. If you've seen
Yeah.
Psycho, you know the
Psycho, yeah.
story. Yeah,
Of
like
course.
we know what's going to happen to his mother. We know what's happening with him. We know what he's going to
Yeah.
become. But
Yeah.
you care. Oh my god. And the
Yeah.
characters are so good. The acting is amazing. I love Vera Farmiga. She is
I do too.
she's incredibly talented and
She is.
right, I mean, and she's there throughout, of course, but
Hmm.
you see what made him, and they did a good
Yeah.
job with that. This could have gone so wrong. Like it could have been
Yeah.
really stereotypical. The characters could have been really like insufferable, hard to
Yeah.
relate to, but they're not. Like the
Yeah.
situations that they put them in, you're like, I could have ended up like her. Like
Yeah.
it's very reasonable. And I think because it's so grounded like that, it made it really good, really good. And the progression was great.
That's
And I
good.
feel like they ended just right. Just right. Oh, your next
Perfect.
one.
I have to finish
Yeah.
it. It's on my list.
You should. That's a good one.
Yeah.
It's a
So
good moody show
yeah,
too.
my number 10 we've already talked about is actually American Horror Story. Even though I'm only up to season 4, it made the list technically pretty high compared to some of the other ones that I really like. I just think it did a lot for the horror genre, and I'm very excited to finish it. And I just love what they've done with it. I love the characters and the acting in it. I love Kathy Bates so much. I love seeing her in anything. So
Yeah. Yeah, I like
always a
her.
fan. Always a fan.
Number 10 for me is Love, Death, Robots. Every single episode is an anthology. You could tell a lot of creativity and art went into it and thought. Some episodes are funny, some episodes are really scary, some episodes are really intense and entertaining. It
Yeah.
I feel like it's every time I watch a season, I can't stop watching. I can't like turn it off I binge it in one night every single season that's come out.
Really?
They're so
Wow.
good. Yeah, I really enjoy them. And you get some of the coolest ideas out of it. Like you get a little bit of every type of horror that you could imagine, and they're
Mm.
so consumable, these little chunks of episodes. It's easy to binge it.
Yeah.
And I feel entertained every single time. Every single time.
That's good to know. I actually have not even heard of this show, nor have I watched it, obviously.
It's on
Okay.
Netflix. I don't know if it's on Netflix Canada. It's one
Oh,
of their big
probably
shows.
not.
The newest season, I blew through it. It was so good.
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
I'll have to
yeah.
add it.
I mentioned it a little bit in our Terror from the Deep episode, just because there's a couple episodes that fit for that.
Okay.
It's really good,
Okay.
really
Good to
good.
know.
Number 9,
So I'm throwing it way back.
way back.
Way back to my childhood, and I'm paying homage to one of my favorite shows of all times, Goosebumps.
Goosebumps.
This is one of the shows that really solidified my love for horror. I have to pay
Hmm.
tribute to it on a ranking list because
Yeah.
I read all the books, I loved the show. It was, it's cheesy now and it's more on the fun side and it's a little
Hmm.
childish, but it's amazing and I
Yeah.
everybody knows Goosebumps. All the horror fans know what it is, but it's one of my faves. So
I
there.
love Goosebumps. The show is
Yeah.
great. I read the books more than I
Yes.
watched the show, though, so I don't
Okay.
even remember all of the show. I do remember all the books I read, and I loved the books, and some of them
Yeah.
genuinely scared me. I do remember an
Hmm.
episode with the mask. That one really scared me and freaked me out, and to this day,
Yeah.
when I think of putting on a mask that's like a rubber mask, I think of that episode, and it makes me
Yeah.
wonder if that's where they got the idea for the movie Clown. Like, if
Oh,
it
maybe.
was
Yeah.
inspired by that episode, because
Yeah.
that's what I thought of when I watched that movie too.
That's fair. Honestly, my favorite episodes were The Night of the Living Dummy because my brother was so scared of Slappy
I
and
am
it
scared of
traumatized
Slappy.
him.
Yeah,
He's pretty creepy. And but I also
very.
the the books were my favorite ones were the ones where you pick your own adventure.
Choose Your Own
Those were my
Adventure ones,
favorite.
yes!
I
My favorite one
loved
was
those.
the Night of the Purple Peanut Butter or something like that. That was my favorite one. It was like an amusement park one, I think. It was
Oh, okay.
It was really good.
Oh,
But it was
they're just
something
so
about
good.
purple peanut butter. Like,
So nostalgic. I love them. Love
yeah,
them so
yeah.
much.
Oh, and the covers. I just want, like,
Yeah,
a collage of all the Goosebumps covers, or,
me
like, a
too.
tarot card set of Goosebump covers would be so cool.
That's
Like,
such a good idea. That's such
wouldn't that be cool?
yeah.
Yeah, I would dig
Amazing.
that. I would dig that. Somebody would make that happen. Somebody make that happen.
Okay.
So my ninth pick is Black Mirror.
Ah,
Black Mirror,
yeah.
another Netflix anthology
Mm,
series. I think that Black Mirror is darker in tone than and Love, Death, and Robots is more fantastical in tone.
okay.
So yeah, they're very similar, I think, in idea, except for one's got a ton of animated episodes and the other is much more serious. It's a show that a few times made my gut hurt. Like watching an
Yeah. Oh,
episode
yeah.
afterwards, my gut is just wrenched. Like
Yep.
some of those episodes I can't believe they thought of.
Mhm.
Like, it
I
reminds me of some
know.
really depraved horror without being depraved, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
They're not showing you a lot of times,
Mhm.
but knowing what's happening or what's going on sometimes, and you're like,
Yeah.
forget about it. This is so messed up. There's a
Yeah.
few episodes that are very iconic that people talk about. There's one with the politician and the pig.
Mhm.
Forget about it.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
one wrecked me. And then there's the one with the kid where he's having to do all these things and follow all these horrible instructions, and you feel for this kid, and then you find out about who he is.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
this
know.
show is so good. It's so good. I Every single
It is.
episode is so futuristic, but still feels so real and grounded. The one with
Too real.
Bryce Dallas Howard, where she was like
Yeah.
worried about her likes and stuff, and it's like a future currency almost or
Yeah.
status.
Ooh, the status. Yeah, I hated it. Ooh, it
That
creeped
one,
me out.
yeah, too close
Oh,
to real. Too close. Too
it
close.
is. That's the thing. It played with very real possibilities that could
Yeah.
happen eventually in the world, and that's why it freaks me out. I don't want to see that ever happen. Ooh, no, thank
Yep.
you.
Yeah. One of the ones that hurt me the most, I think, was the one about it was like rememory or something, where in the future, if insurance companies have a way to like investigate insurance claims through people's
Oh,
memories.
yes.
Yeah, that
Ooh,
one was pretty intense. I
yeah.
typically don't like those kind of stories where it's like one bad thing after another keeps happening and you're like, okay, at some
Mhm.
point you gotta like wake up.
Yeah.
It kind of felt like that, but at the same time, like, whoa. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
such a good storytelling.
My next one is another one that people might come for me and they might say it's not horror. I actually asked you if this
I
was
think
horror, and you're like, it involves
definitely.
a serial killer. So, yeah.
Yeah. And not like a
The
serial
show is
killer, like a crime
no,
drama serial killer. This is like the
no.
focus is the serial killer, and it's scary to me.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
this is the show on Netflix called You with Joe. The main character Joe, and
Joe.
he's a crazeball. I'm putting this on the list because he's
He's
a
a crazy
crazeball.
ball.
He does such a good job though because he's so charismatic but so
Mhm.
crazy, and he plays that character so well. This is a
Yeah.
show that I can rewatch consistently, and that's why it made this list because it creeps me out. It's got
Yeah.
a really great story. It's acted really really well. I just love it. And every season has continued to keep me in it. Like the seasons have never lost me. In fact, I love season 3 so much
I
that
don't
like
think I've seen season 3 yet.
highly recommend because I think
Sorry.
they just keep getting better. And then season 4
Okay.
is coming. So this is not
Oh.
canceled. I picked one
Did
that's
you
not
ever watch
canceled.
Gossip Girl?
I did not. I know he's in it
Oh,
though,
okay.
right?
Yeah, I knew him from that before I watched him in
Yeah.
You. He's
Yeah.
almost the same person. It's so
Oh,
weird.
really?
Like, it's
Oh.
so weird. I yeah, it's bizarre, like, how similar they are,
Oh.
but, like, how they shouldn't be. Like, they
No.
shouldn't be similar at all, but they are.
Well,
Like,
he does a good job
it's
at that
crazy.
character, I'll say that.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
such a fun watch. I just love it so much.
What's her name
And it
from
has
Haunting?
Victoria Pedretti.
Yes, that's right.
I love her. And actually, I fell in love with her
So
with
talented.
Haunting of Hill House. And
Me
then
too.
when I saw her in You, I was like, "Oh my god, this is the girl
Yeah,
I love." Like she's
yeah.
so talented. So,
Yeah, I want
I'm
her in
glad she's in it.
everything. She's one of those
Me
people that
too.
if I hear she's in something, I'm gonna be excited about it, I think, 'cause
I'll always
she's
watch it.
she's also just gorgeous. Like, she's so
She
gorgeous, but her talent is, like, what really she's amazing.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, I'm excited to talk about this one.
Oh.
My next one is Hannibal.
Ah, yes.
I cannot tell you what this show did to me. I love this show so much. Like, this
Same.
show is such a roller coaster because, for one, you cannot make Hannibal Lecter that goddamn gorgeous. It's just not right.
No. No.
I mean, and then you make the food look so dang delicious. I'm like, stop.
You were
Like,
like, am I into
oh
that?"
my if I didn't
Yeah,
know, I would, and that's the problem. I
that's
didn't
fair. How many
know,
seasons
I
does Hannibal
would.
have? Just
Uh,
do we know? I've never
I
finished
don't
it.
remember. I don't remember. I did finish it. It's great. The show's great. All the way to
I
the
gotta
end.
finish it.
I'm happy with it.
Right.
Mads Mikkelsen, call me. Just call me.
Call me.
I love him. I love him so much. But this show also, when I watched the first episode, it blew my mind that this was on television, like that they allowed
Right?
it
Yeah.
to be on television because
Yeah.
nothing that gruesome had ever
Mhm.
been on regular cable TV
Yeah.
ever. I don't think. Not that I can remember. I'm talking
Yeah.
like artistic sculptures with body parts on a
Yeah.
beach is in the first episode.
Yeah.
And
Push
that
boundaries for sure.
I think that opened the door for the likes of American Horror Story and other shows that have a
Yeah.
lot of gore and gruesomeness going on. Although I don't know if those are considered cable too, I believe. FX and AMC.
Yeah.
I believe that's on cable. I don't know anymore.
I
Streaming's
don't
ruined.
have cable. Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know, but
Streaming has ruined my knowledge on that. I have no idea anymore.
me too.
Like,
Fair.
but it to me it broke boundaries and it surprised me as someone who loved horror that it was on there. So,
Yeah,
yeah, Hannibal.
it is a good one. I gotta finish it.
Oh man. Making me like
Yeah.
serial killers and question whether cannibalism's okay. Like,
I
great.
mean,
Like,
no judgment.
no judgment. Oh my
Oh,
god. Alright.
I'm also throwing it back for number 7. And this one gets higher on the list than Goosebumps. And this is Are You Afraid of the Dark? Because this show was far scarier than Goosebumps
Mhm.
was. Goosebumps was a lot cheesier, a little bit more fun. Are You
Yeah,
Afraid of the Dark? That played with some dark stuff.
it
And
did.
it freaked me out as a kid. And I again, another show that really got me into horror. I gotta put it on the list because it just
I
always stuck
agree.
with me.
It
Yeah.
did.
It's
Yeah.
it's iconic.
Haunting.
And
Haunting.
I saw a
Legitimately scared
ton.
me sometimes.
Oh, yeah, I used to go to bed and I was like, "Oh god, like that episode freaked me out." And I noticed like,
Mhm.
a lot of stars got some starts on that show. Like Nev
Yeah.
Campbell was in that show. Like there was a lot of really big name people that were on there.
Yeah, my 7th is okay, this might be cheating. I did the originals and the Vampire Diaries, and I did them together
Oh,
because I really I didn't think I would ever watch the Vampire Diaries. I thought it was gonna be some, like, CW show, really cheesy, the vampires are gonna be all, like, Twilighty, which there's nothing wrong with Twilight, it just wasn't something I was interested in watching at the time when the show came out. Then I
yeah.
saw a, like, promo for the originals, and I was like, "Now that's a vampire show that I would watch." So I started
Oh, okay.
watching the originals and then found out partway through in one of the episodes that it was a spinoff of the Vampire Diaries. Had no freaking clue. No clue
Oh, I didn't
whatsoever.
either.
Didn't know. Just started watching the originals. I was like, "Shit, now I gotta go watch the
Oh.
Vampire Diaries." So I stopped watching the originals, and I went back and I watched all of the Vampire Diaries. Fell in love with it. Like, could not so then I was obsessed. I was obsessed. I love the Vampire Diaries and I love the originals. You can't have one without the
Yeah.
other, in my opinion. So I put them together.
Okay, I'll let that
Cheating?
slide. That's not a cheat. That's fine.
Okay, thank
Now,
you.
I've never actually watched the Vampire. I've always heard of the Vampire Diaries, never have watched it. I might one
So
day. We'll
good.
see.
It's so good.
I've heard good things.
It's a gobble up. I mean, based off of your list, I think you would really like it. Really like it.
Probably.
So
Probably.
I think you should check it out.
I
All
will.
right.
One day I will.
What's 6th
Alrighty.
for you? Oh man. See,
Okay.
especially because you this one. This one. This is why I know. Go ahead.
Supernatural.
It's
For one, I
when
love
you
that song. I love
forgot.
that song. I I have to admit though, Supernatural's on this list and it's pretty high up, but I am not done. I am not even halfway through this franchise. So,
Oh,
like I'm at like
prepare
season
for
7,
heartbreak.
maybe 8. I I've heard some scary things. I love this show though,
I love
and
this show too.
I love Sam and Dean. I love everything about it. It's just so fun. They're so fun, but it also
Yeah.
has that element that's horror and creepy and
Yeah.
demons and I can eat this whole show up and I'm so
The
excited for it.
Leviathan, how freaky are they? Oh
I
yeah.
just love it. Oh, I love it
Oh,
so
I love
much.
it too. It's
Yeah,
such a comfort show. It's one of those shows
it
I think that
is.
this is where we're gonna start talking about rewatchability because now we're getting into
Yeah,
the part of our list that
the
you and I
good
have
good stuff.
the same ones. From here on
We're all
out,
the same.
we have they're
Yeah,
all the same for us. They're just in slightly
yeah,
different orders. So we're gonna
yeah.
really gush about these shows.
Mhm.
This show is one of those shows that I've probably watched 3 or 4 times. I love this show like most people love
Every
Friends.
season?
Every season, every single
There's like
I li
1,000 of these damn things.
I I put it on all the time. It's one of those shows that
Yeah.
if I'm cleaning or I'm doing laundry or I don't know what I wanna watch. Now, mind you, since I started TikTok, I haven't been able to do stuff like that because now
Yeah.
I have things I have to watch. So, like,
Yeah.
which isn't a
Yeah.
bad thing to have. I don't have to worry about wondering what I'm gonna watch tonight because I know. Like,
Exactly.
but I used to struggle, and sometimes you don't have the time or the head capacity, space, whatever, to sit there and
Yeah.
flick through and find something to watch. So we go to
Yeah.
our comfort shows, and Supernatural is one of them. That is one of my
Absolutely.
comfort shows. Who's your favorite character that's not Sam and Dean from Supernatural? Because I think I
I
have a
have to be
weird one.
I don't actually have one just because the last time I watched Supernatural was probably 5 years ago, and I couldn't even tell you the characters' names. Couldn't even.
Mine is Loki slash Gabriel. I love
Okay.
that guy. Anytime he shows up in an episode, I'm like, this is gonna be a fun episode. Or
Okay.
anytime an episode starts and you're like, what the frick is going on? And they're like in a game show in an alternate universe, you know it's
Right? Yeah.
Loki. And it's like, yes,
Yeah.
like those episodes are so fun. Like favorite
It's
episodes.
such a fun show. Like just
It's
overall,
so
it's just
fun. And
it's
it's like a
it's got
running
so much
joke.
comedy. Yeah, like
Yeah.
I was gonna say it's like very
Yeah.
comedic.
Oh, and
Um,
Dean, God, he's such a lovable guy whenever he has this moment. Where's that episode? What's that episode where he ends up being like really fearful? Like he loses his courage and bravery and he's just afraid
yeah,
of
I don't
everything. He
I'm
loses
not even noticing.
he loses his courage and like at one point they have to go investigate it to get it back. They have to figure out what's wrong with him. He's like cursed or hexed or
Okay.
something. And like and Sam opens a locker and Dean's like "Ah!" and screams and it's like a cat and he's just like
Aw,
like whoops. It's so
they're so
funny.
great together. I love the casting for those two. Like they make such a good, perfect pair. I just love
They
them
do.
together.
They do.
Fantastic.
My sixth is higher up on your list. It's Buffy. Buffy the Vampire
Hmm.
Slayer. This show was pretty pivotal for me at a pretty pivotal
Hmm.
time. I think
Yeah.
there's a lot in this show. I don't know how to explain it, but I feel like people who are fans of Buffy just know what I'm talking about. Like it's an
Yeah,
impactful show. It felt
it
like
is.
it felt like perfectly timed for what was going on, but still classy enough in tone and what they talked about and discussed to carry
Hmm.
on through to today and make it still relevant.
Yeah,
It's a timeless show that
it
also
is.
captures some of that comedy and horror that
Oh,
Supernatural does.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. They kind of coincide for me. Like
Yeah.
after I watched Buffy and I watched Supernatural, I was like, this is like another Buffy.
Yes.
It's a very
Yeah.
similar feeling, yeah.
Except for two dudes. Yeah. It's exactly that.
Two
Instead of
dudes
like a
instead of
Scooby
Buffy.
gang, you got two guys. Yeah.
Yeah, it's iconic. We'll get to my list with it for sure too. It's higher up on mine, like you said, but
Yeah. So what is your fifth? Fifth.
okay. We're getting into the juicy bits now.
The real juicy
So,
fruit.
Stranger Things is my number 5, and yes, a big part of this has to do with my husband Eddie. I'm just kidding. I actually have always loved Stranger Things since
Mhm.
season 1.
This
It's
is also
always
my fifth.
been okay, so we match.
This
Okay.
one's the
This
same.
is
This one's the same.
this one's the same.
We got the same
This is a
one.
comfort show. I've watched this show
100%.
multiple times through, over and over
Yeah.
and over. I'm watching it again right now with my friend. We're doing
Me
Netflix watch
too.
parties. Yeah, we're across the country from each other, but we're doing Netflix watch parties just
And
like
we just
binging
rewatched
Stranger
it
Things.
for our episode. So
I just finished it and then restarted it immediately. As I'm
yeah.
rewatching Buffy right now, so I've just got a bunch of shows on the go. But
Oh my
I
gosh.
I just love this show, everything about it, and it's just getting
Yeah.
better and better and better with the horror elements, and the
100%.
characters are just being fleshed out, and like they're just
Mm.
all so good. Like we just talked about Stranger Things, we gushed about
Yeah.
Stranger Things. I
Go
I
watch
don't
that
have much more
episode,
to
you
say.
guys. It's
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
such a good episode. It's one of my favorite
it is.
episodes that we've done. It has a fun intro because it just so happens that there's an episode where Billy says let us in. So we
Yeah,
clipped that at the beginning of the episode. It's really fun. I love that show.
It is.
One of the
Yeah,
best ensemble cast television series to date, where
absolutely.
all of the characters feel like the main character.
Mm-hmm.
It's so good. Ah, yeah,
It
it's
is.
fun. It's fun. Another balances comedy, horror, lightheartedness. This one's a little bit more darker and serious in tone than the likes of Buffy and Supernatural, but it still has that element of nostalgia
Mm-hmm.
that almost puts them in the same realm, except for it's a higher, you could tell it's a higher end
Yeah.
production, right? Yeah,
Oh, definitely.
fantastic.
You know, Buffy has such, the effects are, they leave a bit to be desired, but Stranger Things, man, their editing is, oh, it is
Yeah,
perfect. It is
perfect.
so damn perfect. Yeah.
Perfect. Yep. Yeah, so move on to your fourth because Stranger Things is my fifth.
I would
So
say we match we match on
we
that
matched
one.
on that
So
one.
my number 4 is the X-Files. This is, yeah, show off that shirt.
This is a
This is
great shirt.
another, yeah, I actually really want that shirt. I want an X-Files shirt so bad.
Yeah.
I need one. I need one. This show is another one that I grew up with as a kid that
Yep.
solidified my love for horror. It
Yes.
creeped me out to an extreme amount. This and like Unsolved Mysteries, which is not on my list. Unsolved Mysteries is not technically a horror show, but it used to freak me out, and I used to
Sure
watch
is
the X Files,
scary.
and
Yeah.
it was so scary. And the X
X-Files
Files
is still
just stuck
scary.
with me. It's still scary.
It's
And I gotta
scary.
give a shout out to, they do an episode. It's season 3. I don't remember. The episode's called Quagmire, and they actually shout out an urban legend from my hometown
Ooh.
in this episode, and I've never even heard this talked about online ever in any show. Like this doesn't get mentioned. I'm from a very like
They
relatively small area.
scraped the barrel of
They do.
cryptids.
They do.
Scraped the barrel. Not
They
even
do.
kidding. They do.
Yeah. Yeah, they busted out this lake monster from my hometown, and I was baffled. I watched this episode and I was like,
Did you never get in the lake again?
no, I knew no, because I already knew that it was a thing.
Oh,
I
okay.
knew, yeah, oh yeah, it's like infamous in my town. Like there's
Yeah, but doesn't
statues.
it make you visualize it and make it even scarier? Like,
No, because they
oh,
just briefly mention it. It's not the
oh,
whole
okay.
episode is just about like lake creatures and stuff,
Mm,
but they name drop the urban legend, and I've just never heard
gotcha.
it done. And the X-Files gets some serious points for doing that. But also it's just incredible. It's just
Yeah,
incredible overall.
it is.
Everything
It's an
they deal
incredible
with in
show.
that show. It is.
So I'm gonna gush about this one a lot because this one's actually
Yeah.
much higher up on my list.
Hmm.
This is my go-to comfort show. Literally,
Yeah,
like
one of
this
mine too.
one of all television shows out there, I've watched
Yeah.
X-Files the most over and over again since I was a child. It's
Yeah. I might be the same. I might be the same.
I love this show so
Yeah.
much. One of my favorite episodes, well, a couple of my favorite episodes were the one with the guy that eats livers and like squeezes through small spaces. So
Yeah.
scary. And he's a recurring
Yeah.
character too, which great because we needed to be
Hmm.
terrified again by him. And he got like
Yeah.
yellow eyes and stuff because
Yeah.
he's got like
Ew,
a
yeah. He
well,
is
he doesn't have
creepy.
a functioning liver or something. That's why he eats
Yeah.
livers because he's got a deficiency. So he
Yeah.
eats I was afraid of small spaces, including my own toilet, because he comes up
Yeah.
through the pipes of a toilet. Like,
Yeah.
what the frick? That's nightmare
I know.
fuel.
There was a lot of
Um,
stuff in in that show that dealt with that kind of stuff where it just was like, ew, like I don't want to think about it, but now I'm thinking about it and it's gonna stick with me forever. It played with our fears.
I talked recently about a movie called Blood Lake: Attack of the Killer Lamprey. That movie was not good. However, the episode about the lamprey man in X-Files is so scary. Like he's such a
Much more
what a good
effective.
what a good creature design. Ooh, he's freaky.
Yeah.
Like and he
Yeah,
gets
they put a
away.
lot of that.
He gets away
Yeah,
in like the sewers.
yeah. God,
Oh,
I just want to go back and watch X Files now. I got too many shows on the go
I
right
know.
now.
It's so good. And
I do.
Fox and Scully are just iconic. I mean,
Yeah. Also,
Scully
an iconic duo. Yeah.
she is she is
A badass.
Gillian Anderson is just one of those actresses that I think are so important in film and television.
Yeah.
She speaks for women quite a lot and defends women. In fact,
Mhm.
she's talked about how she didn't want to go back and do any more X-Files because they have to get her character right and they keep failing her.
Oh, yeah.
So she cares very much about what women look like. And to me, I think her character was important. She's a leader. She was very much I think I understand to a degree, like, she sacrificed a lot, and you shouldn't expect that of your female characters, your heroines,
Yeah.
to always be sacrificing for the man, and I think that's a
Yeah.
good point. I always felt like she was the strongest of the duo. She was
Absolutely.
the most logical, the smartest. I mean, she's a doctor, like,
Mhm.
I love her. Scully and Ripley are, like, so
Yeah.
important to me. Like,
No, I
um
feel that she's a very strong woman, and she was a great, like, iconic little role model, like somebody to look up to when you were
mhm.
a kid. Absolutely.
So my 4th pick is also way higher up on your list. My 4th pick is Midnight Mass.
Ah, yes.
I love Midnight Mass. It was
Yes.
so close to it's it's my second favorite of Flanagan's shows,
Yeah.
but it is one of the best shows of all time. And I'm still
Love it.
so mad that they didn't get any more awards, that they only got the one like
Oh,
afterthought award that they tossed them for the
I
Emmys.
know.
Bullshit.
I know,
The
I know.
show's perfect. I don't know
It is.
anything about that show that I would change. I think
Me
that
neither.
he's a genius at telling stories. I think the monologues
Mhm.
make sense. They're perfect.
Yeah.
The characters all you feel for them so much. Like I've
Absolutely.
never had my heart ripped out so much by a show, except for
Oh,
another one of his that's on our list. But this show at the end crushed me.
yeah.
And I don't want to say like the real big plot of the show, just in case there's any of you guys watching us.
Yeah.
This show is the one show that I want to hold tight against spoilers because
Mhm.
one word can spoil it. It is
Yeah.
it is one of the best surprising shows for me. When I watched it, I had no clue what it was going to be about. And the
Me
minute it
neither.
was about that, I was like, "What?
Yeah.
No way. Like this is the coolest show ever." Like I never saw it coming. And
Neither
I
did I.
get goosebumps talking about it because that sensation, that feeling when you watch
Yeah.
as much TV and horror and films as we do, it is really hard to be surprised.
It
I
is.
had no idea that was coming. Absolutely
Me neither.
none. Like,
I
I
know.
had never been blown away in a moment as much as I was in this show.
I understand entirely.
And I
Entirely.
love Rahul Kali. Like, ooh,
I do love
sheriff.
him too. When I get to my ranking, I will mention my favorite character. I do love Raul though. He's great, and he's so set. He's so sassy in real life. Like
So
the
sad. Oh my
sassiest
god.
human.
I follow him on Twitter and he's probably one of
Yeah,
the only people I follow on Twitter because I'm not super active there.
yeah.
But he also paints minis. Hey, hey, hey. I paint minis. I'll Warhammer with you.
There you go. Get in
What
tight.
is up?
We love your show.
We love your show.
Yeah. God, yeah. He's
Everything about you.
yeah,
He's probably close to my Eddie. Like you have Joseph Quinn. I
yeah.
have Rahul Kohli. Like, oof,
Okay.
love
Oof.
him. Oof.
I feel that then.
Yeah. I feel like I'm trying to tame myself a little bit.
Yeah, I reeled it
Yeah.
in for my Stranger Things little moment there. I reeled it in.
You did you did wonderful. Like,
Thank you. It's hard to hold it in. Oh.
okay, what is your third? Right?
My
Third.
third is Buffy. Yeah, so we did talk. We touched briefly on Buffy.
Yeah.
It's
I love Buffy. It's great.
I'm rewatching it right now. It holds so much for me. I know the creator is a wiener and there's some
Yeah.
issues and some outdated
This
things within
guy.
the show, but even then it still withstands the test of time. It's still
It does.
rewatchable. I love it. Like and like you said, Buffy is such an iconic female character. She's so strong, she's so
Mhm.
smart. Like everything in it, everything in that show I just love. And on a
Me too.
rewatch, I'm just like I haven't watched it since I was like an early teenager. And
Yeah.
man, it's so nice to revisit it.
It is.
I
It
missed
is.
it. I missed
It's
it.
so good. Yeah, I love
I
that show
missed it.
too. It's very
Yeah.
nostalgic.
I just
My,
watched one of my favorite episodes, which was Hush with the
oh,
gentleman.
Doug
And
Jones. I
Like
love Doug
him,
Jones too.
yeah. Well, who doesn't really?
Who
Within the horror
doesn't? Yeah.
community, who
Who
doesn't?
doesn't love
But the
Doug Jones?
gentlemen are so creepy, and the fact that the majority of that episode has no dialogue is
Right.
so impressive. What they did with that
The
episode, and I
theater
just,
scene is so funny.
oh, it's
When
all
she's trying to
so
say
good.
stab him. Reminds me of
I
our
was
gameplay the
laughing
other day.
so.
We were
Yeah,
trying to play rock,
exactly.
paper,
But they play it so well, like the looks on their faces when this is happening, they know, and like they're
scissors.
just so good at getting it across without words. That episode is so good, so good.
So good.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
Definitely a
Buffy's my number 3.
masterclass in acting without saying anything.
Oh, all of them did
Yeah.
spectacular,
Yeah.
fantastic.
Well, my third is X-Files. I think we covered that one. I clearly love the show.
Oh
So,
yeah,
yeah, that's my third pick. It's up there. It's again probably the most rewatched show
yeah.
besides my number 2 pick. So, or yeah, I would say this one beats it in rewatchability, but my number 2 pick beats it in comfort. We'll get there.
Okay,
What's your number
okay.
2 pick?
So my number 2 pick is Midnight Mass, which we also just talked about. And you
We're
mentioned your
Flana
favorite character.
stands. So
I was gonna say, like,
we're-
I'm a huge Mike
he
Flanagan fan, and
does
he
no
can do
wrong.
no wrong. I was
Does
gonna
no
say,
wrong. Look, rest
that's true.
in
I'm gonna have
peace
to bump
to
that.
Wes Craven, but Mike Flanagan has filled his space for me. Like
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I was really sad when Wes Craven passed away because he's my favorite director. And
Yeah.
Mike Flanagan is taking up that mantle for me because I have not
Absolutely.
liked something that he's made. So,
Never.
yeah,
I've
your
never
favorite
disliked
character?
anything.
Sorry.
Oh, my favorite character was Hamish Linklater.
He's such
He
a talented man.
blew my mind. Like, blew my freaking mind.
Glue.
Oh, good. Like,
Amazing.
he was a standout performance, and I'm
Everybody
still so happy he
agrees.
didn't. Oh, incredible. And
Everybody
you
agrees.
mentioned the monologues, and I heard
Yeah.
a lot of people hating on the fact that there was too many monologues, they were too long.
Like every character got
I
one. Yeah.
I lived for them though. I was
Loved
so
'em.
captivated. I was mesmerized by
Absolutely.
them. Yeah.
They were all
Like
touching,
they
beautiful,
were. They
well
were.
written. It felt like I was watching
Yeah.
poetry mixed with horror, mixed with
Yeah.
it
Absolutely.
literally reached into my gut when I was listening to these
Yeah.
monologues. Like, it's so
Yeah.
visceral, the feelings that it woke up. I feel this might be very gatekeepy and an asshole thing to say, but I feel like if you didn't feel anything during those monologues, you might
Yeah.
want to go to a therapist.
Yeah. I agree.
Go to
Especially
therapy, figure out what you turned off, because
exactly.
like
Well, there in episode 4, I'm not going to give spoilers, don't worry. In episode 4, when Aaron and Riley are having their monologue on the couch, I was taken to a whole other realm, like watching that. Like I was
it's
so
beautiful.
mesmerized by what it was the most stunning thing I've ever seen. That episode was what solidified my obsession with this show, and then it just kept getting
I
better and better and
cried
better.
my eyes out in
Oh,
that episode.
me
I have never
too.
been so emotionally damaged by a
Yeah,
show
I agree.
in my life. Like Mike
I
Flanagan, if I
agree.
didn't love you so much, I would say you should pay for my therapy.
I agree.
Because that show,
Yeah, 100%.
that episode, man, I don't want to give spoilers away either, but the ending was haunting. Like,
Oh,
and it
yeah,
intentionally so. The way that the sound, I'm not gonna say what sound, but the sound carried on with the black screen and
Yeah.
credits rolling.
Yeah.
Forget about it. Forget about it.
Forget about it.
Forget about it.
I
Yeah.
100% agree. 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Beautiful.
my number 2 is Supernatural.
There it is.
I love this show so much. Yeah, I rewatch it
Yeah.
a lot. The music is great. The characters are great. It makes me so happy. This is my serotonin show. That's what it is. It's my serotonin show. It makes me literally feel good every time I watch an episode. I love it. I love every character. I have not had any problems with that show. None.
Yeah.
Can
It
do
would
no
probably be
wrong.
higher if I finish it. When I finish
Mhm.
it, it'd probably be higher on my list. I couldn't put it higher than the ones I have finished.
Yeah.
So
No, that's fair. That's fair. So our number one is the same. I mean, again, if you know
I knew
us
you'd
or
guess
have
it.
watched us at all, or
Yeah.
even just listened to us a little bit in this episode already, you might know that our number one pick is by Mike Flanagan.
Yeah.
And it's The Haunting
Oh,
of series.
Hill
The
House was eh, perfection. Like literal perfection in my mind. Like
it was.
more so than Midnight Mass, and Midnight Mass was perfection. So
Right. Like
I don't know how they did this.
I
But
have never watched a show better than this. Literally,
me
this is
neither.
my number one show of shows, period.
Me
Not
too.
even just horror
Me too.
shows, of all shows. Like,
Yeah.
I remember watching Game of Thrones a while back and like loved Game of Thrones. And like most people, the last season really hurt me, but I rewatched that show every
Mhm.
year before the next season, and typically a couple times because I was introducing somebody else to Game of Thrones. So I would be
Yeah.
binge watching it all with them over and over again. That was my favorite show up until the last season, and it dropped
Yeah.
that show off my like faves. The
Oh yeah.
Haunting of wipes the floor with Game of Thrones. Like
Yeah.
that show is so good. I
It's perfection.
It's so freaking scary. I
Yeah.
I've never been more scared by anything. This show scared me so much. And I
Yeah.
hear people say, I don't, it's not really that scary. Did we watch the same thing? Like,
Right. Yeah.
I, what kind of edgelords are saying that that show is not scary? Like, I mean,
I
the
mean,
greatest
that
jump scare in
I
television
was
and
just going to
film.
say. Yeah,
Sorry.
that jump scare. No, like I'm agreeing with you. That jump scare
Yeah.
was iconic, and it's truly the one jump scare that I've ever seen out of the thousands of horror stuff that
Yeah.
I've watched that has got me that bad. And and it was our girl Victoria Pedretti that did it. She knocked it out of the park with that one.
When I tell you, I could not watch this show in the dark after that episode.
Oh,
I
see, I
couldn't.
still did.
I couldn't.
It was
If I
scary
was
though,
alone, I
spooky.
could not watch that show in the dark by
Oh,
myself. That the minute I knew that there were ghosts in the background, in the shadows,
oh,
and I knew that they were there because I didn't know
yeah.
right away. You don't know in the first couple
I didn't
episodes.
I didn't notice either.
And
No.
then once you do know and you start
Yeah.
looking for them, you will see them in your house. I couldn't.
I
Oh,
I agree. Like actually the first time I noticed that something was weird in the background, they were
yeah.
walking down a hallway and there was a statue in the hallway, and in one scene the head was like one way and then the next scene it was the
Yeah.
other way, and I did a rewind and I was like, "Wait, that head was the other way." And I was like, "Oh my god, there's stuff going on in the background." So then I started really paying attention, and then I went back
Mhm.
to the first episode and rewatched it again just to look for the stuff in the background because it was I
There's one that's in
loved
the
when she was doing that.
foreground. Do you remember
Oh,
the one
yeah.
in the hall where it's literally right in front of you and it's like
Yeah.
slowly turning towards the camera? I put it
Yeah.
when we had that episode up, that Flanastan's episode up, that was the clip
Yeah.
I used when we were talking about
Yeah.
ghosts in the background because
Yeah.
forget it. Like
I
so
iconic.
freaky.
It's so, and then they did that over 15-minute long one take scene at the funeral
In the
home.
funeral home, oh gorgeous. Gorgeous.
Oh, how they
Another
swapped out like the
masterclass.
kids. Oh, I don't
Mhm.
even understand. Like they literally designed the sets around that episode to pull that off.
And
And
not just that
oh,
episode. The episode when they're escaping the house with and the mom gets left behind.
yeah.
That
Yeah.
episode, they did a whole bunch of single take as well, and they had, like, the holes in the walls and stuff in the main mansion as well, and they had
Yeah.
that big contraption, the elevator thing that they had to come down on with the
Oh,
camera.
yeah.
A feat. The show
Yeah.
if you
Flanagan's
love
genius.
horror yeah,
Yeah.
if you love horror, he loves horror more than you, I promise. Flanagan
Yeah.
loves horror more than
I agree.
anybody because of the amount of
Yeah.
time, care, effort, thought that goes into every little thing he does. You can
Yeah.
tell that not I mean, and that's why he gets his family, right? He gets people that he
Mhm.
knows he can work with because he
Yeah.
has a vision that he wants to see done, and he takes a lot of care into it. And once he finds the right actors, he actually changes things around this actor. Like
Yeah.
the way he thinks about how they're performing a character and what they're making it their own, how he can
Mhm.
adjust to that on the fly. It's just brilliant. It's brilliant what he does. I just the filmography, the lighting,
Yeah.
there isn't a thing
It's
about this show that I can complain about. Except
nope.
for
He's
there's
so
one
good.
thing. What's that actor's name? He was an Invisible Man as well. He plays is it
Oh,
Jackson? Jackson
Jackson
O'Shea?
something.
O'Shea?
Jack oh, it's like it's he's got like 3 names, doesn't he?
Oliver Jackson Cohen. That's his name.
Oh, okay, Oliver Jackson okay.
I'm in love with him. So my one problem is that he was too sad too long. Like I need it was depressing to be attracted to someone so depressed. Like,
He was sad. I mean, if that's the
oh,
most negative thing we could put on that show, I'd say it's
that's
doing
it.
pretty
It's
damn
doing
good.
great. It's perfect. Like,
Yeah. It's
also,
so good. God,
yeah,
so good.
the main like antagonists in this
Mm,
show are so scary. The
mhm.
bent neck lady, terrifying. Friggin'
Terrifying.
terrifying. The way she would show up and how she would show up
Yeah,
and what she turns out to be, terrifying.
yeah, yeah.
The way that that ended shocked me. Like,
Mhm.
I was not
Yeah,
ready. Like, I was not
yeah.
ready. Did not expect
God,
it.
yeah,
No
yeah.
clue. Another fantastic shock. And then the tall hat man, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I I've seen the Hat Man through I've had
Oh,
night terrors
yeah.
before.
Yeah.
So that particular character was really scary for me.
Mhm.
And this is probably actually the main reason why I couldn't watch it in the dark. I anytime that character came on screen, I felt very, like, scared. Like,
Yeah.
it was a very scary character. Think like the classic Hatman what is that word? Theory? No, myth?
It's
The Hatman myth?
myth,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, that combined with kind of like a Babadook-like
Mhm.
character, that's
Yeah.
what it gave me. It gave me, like, a much more grounded and serious and scarier Babadook.
Yeah.
It was very scary. I did not like that
It was.
kid.
Yeah, I mean, it's both of our number ones for a very good reason. He's also doing The Fall of the House of Usher, which I don't know exactly when that's coming up, but
I don't know how
ugh,
he does it. He's
I don't know how he
incredible.
does it either.
Genius.
His brain. I want
Like,
to pick his brain, that's for sure.
so badly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's both of our number 1 pick. Here's Emma.
I'm joining in. I'm
Here's
taking this.
Emma. You gotta do it to the other hand, the other side.
Oh, okay. Well, to be fair, I'm on the right
Yeah.
side of you right now, so it looks like I'm
Oh,
doing it
really?
in the middle. Yeah.
No, that's so bizarre. This is the middle.
Oh,
I didn't know it did that to you.
yeah, I'm on the
Usually
right side.
oh, that is so funny. You're not. You're where my mic is. You're on that side. That's where we're touching.
Your mic is where my hand is going right now. That's so weird.
Stop. That's
I'm
crazy.
right
You
now
must
I'm
be
grabbing
looking
your
at it.
mic.
No. You look like you're
Oh, no.
grabbing somebody else's screen.
Weird.
All right. So it's the opposite of what you want to do. Yeah.
It feels weird. It feels really strange.
I get it. Okay.
I'll just sit here.
Here's okay. Here's Emma's top 13. I'm gonna list them off. Her 13th pick was Freddy's Nightmares. Her 12th pick was Channel Zero. Her 11th pick
Okay.
was Beetlejuice. I loved that cartoon when I was a kid. So that's a good one. Her 10th, I don't know if she's talking about the cartoon. Was there another show? Another Beetlejuice show?
I don't know.
I don't know. Her 10th pick was Chucky. Love.
Mhm.
Her ninth
Yeah.
pick is Ash versus Evil Dead. I also
Mm.
love that one.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
Her 8th pick is Garth Marenghi's Darkplace. I am so sorry if I butchered that.
Yeah, I don't know
um,
how to say that word.
her 7th pick is Haunting of Hill House. Emma, that's so
So
low.
low.
All right,
At
okay,
least it's on the list though. I'll
it is
give
on the
credit where
list. Her 6th is USA Up All Night. Her 5th is Tales from the Crypt.
that's
How
such
did
a
I
good one.
forget Tales from the Crypt?
It was on my honorable mention list. but it didn't make my top 13.
Holler out to Tales from the Crypt. The intro on that, iconic. Iconic. I wanted our intro to be like that, to be like, I love the intro. Fourth is X-Files. That's a good spot. That's the same as
Yeah,
you.
it's
Third
up
is
there.
Last Drive-In.
That is the
Dream.
Emma show. That is the I just finished mine.
It's
That
just
is
Red
the Emma
Bull.
show.
Yeah, it is. Second is Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Oh, that's
And
high
then
on her list.
it is
Okay.
high, yeah.
Good
Her
show.
first pick is Twin Peaks. I love Twin Peaks. That one's a great
I
one.
haven't watched it.
It's good. It's good. I
I
really like
know.
it. It's very quirky and like unique.
Mhm.
So it's not for everybody. It's not.
Yeah.
It's a cult show, like for sure. It's culty. It's also like filmed in the Northwest. So I love that.
Ah.
We have a chain of restaurants here called Twin Peaks. Has nothing to do with this show. It just has
Oh, really?
everything to do with tatas. That's it. It's like our version of Hooters in the North.
Oh.
Nothing to do with the show. So if you ever come to Washington and you think, "Oh, Twin Peaks, I love that show." That's not what you're getting there. All right? You are getting
Oh,
Twin Peaks.
interesting.
I do like Twin Peaks.
Okay.
That one was
I
really
have to
close
watch
to
it.
making my list. It really was. It was close. The thing is, I watch all of these other shows more, and
Yeah.
I think that they're better, but not by a lot.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
honestly I could easily swap out American Horror Story for Twin Peaks. But
Okay. Well, I gotta watch it. I've never given it a go. I've been told numerous times that I would really like it.
yeah,
I gotta do it. I gotta cave.
again, I don't think it's for everybody, but I think it's
Yeah.
good. So, I
Well,
if you enjoyed watching Eaten Alive, you would enjoy Twin Peaks. Not because they're
okay.
the same, but because if you enjoy that kind of quirkiness and weirdness going on and like
Hmm.
chaos, that's Twin Peaks in a nutshell. Like,
Which I do. So it sounds like
so
I'd be
you
right up
would
my
enjoy
alley.
it then. Yeah. Do you have any other honorable mentions?
I mean, I had Creep Show. I had
Oh yeah.
Dexter. I had
I never got
um.
into Dexter. That one couldn't do it. The Walking
Okay.
Dead was okay. I didn't finish
That
it. I
one. That one was good
lost.
up to a certain point, and then
Yeah,
it
I
lost.
checked out. I'm gonna be honest, I checked out after Glenn died.
Me too.
It just didn't do
Yeah.
it for me. He was
That
my
was the
favorite
exact moment.
character. And once
Mine
he was
too.
gone, I was like, I really don't feel attached emotionally to any of these characters like I
Me
did
too.
Glenn. So I don't care about them. I mean, Maggie held me for a little while, but she's too sad and depressed to keep me.
Yep. I
Sorry.
lost it at the same exact moment. I was kind of done, and then the show just didn't really go anywhere else. It just kind of kept doing the same stuff, and
Yeah.
I'd also checked out. But I also had like Slasher, Penny
Oh,
Dreadful. I even
Slasher.
put
That's one.
I even put the Santa Clarita Diet on my list because even though
That
it's
one's so
way
fun.
more, it's so fun and it's more comedy
Also
forward,
canceled.
but it also got canceled. But like Timothy Oliphant, Drew Barrymore, fantastic. But
Yeah,
like there's quite a bit of good gore and like horror elements in it, but it's so fun.
it
Um,
is.
so it was close to
It
being
reminded me
honorable.
of Weeds, but zombies. Oh, iZombie. iZombie is a major honorable mention. Speaking of
Oh,
Rahul Kohli, he got his start on that show.
I haven't watched that one.
That show is very much in line with like Buffy and Supernatural. It's so quirky and funny but zombies are like the main element of that
Yeah.
show. It's really good. I really enjoy that one. And like it has this cool concept where basically she's a zombie, but for whatever reason she's holding on to her I don't remember exactly why she's not gone full like wild zombie-ish, but she does have to eat
Okay.
brains. And when you do eat
Ah.
brains, you take on some of that person's personality and their
Mm,
memories. So she works in a
gotcha.
morgue. That's why she gets access to brains and it keeps her
Yep.
satiated. But at the same time, she's helping solve the crimes for what murdered these people. Like, so it's
Interesting.
got this
Okay.
like bones element to it, this like crime
Yeah.
drama going on. It's great. And Rahul Kohli is like the other he's like her boss in the morgue. He's
Okay.
like the doctor, the like
Ooh, it sounds like I would
forensic.
like this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so good, and he's so great in it, and he has his accent, he's
Mm.
British, so he's kept his British
Yes. Yeah.
accent in that. Yeah, so that's a big honorable mention. I really like that
Yeah.
show. It is a different British
Yeah.
accent than his normal one, though. I wonder why he
Is
chose
it?
to do that. Yeah,
Oh, weird.
it's much more of a posh or proper British, I think, than what he usually sounds like. But I could be wrong, and I might need to go back and rewatch it and then listen to him on interviews again. To me, he sounds different still. I don't know. I
Interesting.
don't know. Those are our top 13. If you guys
Yeah.
like this sort of thing and you want to see some more rankings, let us know in the comments. Join our Discord. It's also linked down below with all our other links. Click all of them. They're all great. If you want to support this podcast, you could also join our Patreon and get access to movie nights, patrons. Here are our lovely patrons. We appreciate you guys. Thanks for supporting us. Yeah.
I don't know what side it's on. God.
All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us. You can see us in Discord, though. Join that server.
Come chat with us.
Great show, guys.